before you touch your phone, before you answer a message, before you let the world tell you what kind of day this will be, stop. Because what you are about to declare in the next few moments will decide everything. Most people wake up and react. They check circumstances. They check problems. They check obligations. And then they let the day control them. But you are not here to react. You are here to create. Today is not random. It is not accidental. It is not outside of your control. It is waiting for your assumption. In the next few minutes, you are going to define this day. You are going to choose your state. And once you choose it, the world will begin rearranging itself around that choice. So listen carefully, not casually, not passively. Listen as someone who understands that what is accepted within must appear without. Before you start your day, declare this. Before anything moves in your outer world, something moves within you. Before a conversation unfolds, before an opportunity appears, before a challenge forms, there is a silent decision made in consciousness. Most people never realize this. They believe life is happening to them. They believe circumstances hold authority. They believe other people determine outcomes. But the truth is far more powerful than that. You are not reacting to reality. Reality is reacting to you. To understand that you are the operant power means to understand that nothing has creative authority over your life except the state you accept as true. Conditions do not command you. The economy does not command you. Other people's opinions do not command you. Even past experiences do not command you. The only thing that commands your world is the meaning you give it and the identity you assume. Operant power means you operate the system. You are not a spectator in this experience. You are the source. Just as a projector casts images onto a screen, your inner assumptions cast images onto the screen of space. If the picture changes, it is because the film changed, and the film is your belief about yourself. Every morning you wake up, you unconsciously choose a state. Sometimes it is worry. Sometimes it is pressure. Sometimes it is expectation of struggle. And then the day faithfully mirrors that choice. Not because you are unlucky, not because life is unfair, but because life is obedient. It reflects the operator. The moment you accept that you are the operant power, blame disappears. And with the disappearance of blame comes the return of power. You no longer need to fight circumstances. You no longer need to manipulate people. You no longer need to fear outcomes. Instead, you turn inward and adjust the only thing that ever needed adjustment, your state of consciousness. If you assume you are overlooked, the world will overlook you. If you assume you are respected, the world will find ways to confirm that respect. If you assume money is difficult to obtain, you will encounter difficulty. If you assume it flows easily, you will begin to notice channels opening. The outer world has no choice but to echo the inner claim. This is not about arrogance. It is about responsibility. Operant power does not mean forcing reality. It means selecting the version of reality you wish to experience by selecting the version of yourself you choose to be. You do not control every detail. You control the state. And the state controls the details. When something unwanted appears, the instinct is to fight it. But the operant power does not wrestle with shadows. It changes the light. Instead of asking, why is this happening? Ask, what am I assuming to be true? Instead of reacting emotionally, become observant. The world is reporting your inner position back to you with perfect accuracy. You are not waiting for permission to succeed. You are not waiting for validation to feel worthy. You are not waiting for proof to feel secure. You generate the proof by embodying the identity first. The state precedes the evidence, always. Think of the version of yourself who already has what you desire. That version is not hoping. That version is not doubting. That version is not asking if it will work out. That version knows. To operate your reality, you must step into that knowing now. Before anything changes externally, walk as that version walks. Think as that version thinks. Make decisions from that version's confidence. This is not pretending. This is selecting. Among infinite possibilities, you are choosing the one you prefer by aligning your consciousness with it. The world rearranges itself naturally around a sustained assumption. It may not always happen instantly, but it happens inevitably. Why? Because consciousness is the only creative substance. Everything visible was once invisible. Everything solid was once imagined. Everything factual was once assumed. To be the operant power means you stop asking the world for confirmation and start giving the world instruction. Quiet instruction. Inner instruction. Assumed instruction. You wake up and decide, I am favored. You move through the day deciding, this works in my favor. You end the night deciding, it is done. And slowly, consistently, faithfully, the world reshapes itself around those decisions. You are not powerless. You never were. You are not behind. You are not blocked. You are not limited by anything outside of your chosen state. The creative force you have been seeking has always been you. When you accept this fully, not intellectually, but emotionally, something shifts. Fear loses its grip. Doubt weakens. Reaction softens. You become steady, certain, calm. Because you understand something most never realize. Nothing moves unless you move it within. You are the beginning. You are the cause. You are the operant power. Everything you experience today began as an assumption. Not an action, not a condition, not luck, an assumption. Something you accepted as true, consciously or unconsciously, impressed itself upon your inner being, and in time it appeared as fact. This is the law operating in your life every single day, whether you are aware of it or not. An assumption is not merely a thought that passes through the mind. It is a thought that is accepted. It is an idea you stop questioning. The moment you accept something as true about yourself, about others, or about life, it begins to solidify. It may not show itself immediately, but it begins organizing circumstances around it. Reality does not argue with your assumptions. It reflects them. If you assume people are difficult, you will meet difficulty. If you assume opportunities are rare, they will seem scarce. If you assume you are always a step behind, life will confirm that belief in subtle and obvious ways. But if you assume you are favored, life will arrange meetings, ideas, and events that support that favor. The outer world is neutral. It simply mirrors the story you have accepted within. Most people attempt to change their reality by changing actions alone. They push harder. They try different strategies. They attempt to manipulate outcomes. Yet they carry the same assumptions underneath. And because the assumption remains unchanged, the results eventually return to familiar patterns. The surface shifts temporarily, but the foundation remains intact. To change your world, you must change what you assume to be true. Assumption works because consciousness is creative. Whatever you consistently accept sinks beneath the surface of the mind and becomes a conviction. Conviction generates feeling. Feeling energizes imagination. And imagination shapes experience. The process is subtle but precise. You do not manifest what you occasionally wish for. You manifest what you inwardly accept as natural. What feels natural to you? That question reveals your dominant assumptions. If struggle feels normal, you will recreate struggle. If disappointment feels expected, you will unconsciously select circumstances that fulfill that expectation. But if success begins to feel normal, not exciting, not surprising, just natural, then success becomes your baseline experience. The key is persistence in assumption. A single positive thought cannot outweigh years of unconscious acceptance. But a sustained shift in identity can alter everything. When you repeatedly return to a new assumption, especially in moments when the outer world contradicts it, you strengthen it. You give it life. For example, if something goes wrong during your day and your old assumption says, nothing ever works out for me, pause. Do not reinforce it. Instead, replace it deliberately. This is still working in my favor. At first it may feel unnatural, but repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity builds belief. Belief reshapes experience. Assumption does not require force. It requires acceptance. You do not need to convince the world. You need to convince yourself. Once the inner agreement is made, the outer agreement follows. Imagine starting each morning with a chosen assumption. Before seeing evidence, before checking circumstances, you decide, today unfolds smoothly. Then you move through the day expecting smoothness. You interpret events through that lens. Small inconveniences lose power because they do not fit your larger assumption. And gradually, the day conforms more and more to the state you declared. This is not denial of reality. It is selection of reality. Among infinite possibilities, you are choosing which version to experience by selecting which assumption to embody. Even your self-concept is an assumption. I am shy. I am unlucky. I am capable. These are not fixed truths. They are repeated inner statements that became familiar. Change the statement, and over time, you change the expression. Assume abundance, and you will begin noticing opportunities you once ignored. Assume love, and you will begin radiating warmth that invites connection. Assume clarity, and confusion will start dissolving. Reality is not stubborn, it is obedient. But obedience requires consistency. If you assume success in the morning and doubt it by afternoon, you create inner conflict. The stronger assumption wins. That is why discipline of mind matters. Not to control every thought, but to guard the ones you accept as truth. Ask yourself daily, what am I assuming right now? Is it empowering me or limiting me? Then choose deliberately. Choose the assumption that aligns with the life you prefer. Repeat it. Feel it live from it. Let it become natural. Because once something feels natural, it feels real. And once it feels real within, it must become real without. Nothing appears in your world by accident. Everything is the echo of something you accepted. Change the assumption, and you change the echo. Assumption creates reality, always. If you desire to change your life, you must stop living toward the end and begin living from it. Most people are always moving in the direction of what they want. They are hoping, striving, waiting, and working toward a future moment when they will finally feel secure, successful, loved, or fulfilled. But this approach keeps the desire in the future. It keeps fulfillment just out of reach. And as long as it remains ahead of you, it cannot become your present reality. To live from the end means you mentally and emotionally step into the version of yourself who already has what you desire. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, you do not wait for the promotion to feel successful. You do not wait for the relationship to feel loved. You do not wait for the money to feel abundant. You assume the feeling first and allow the outer world to catch up. The end is not the physical manifestation. The end is the state of consciousness you would occupy if the manifestation were already complete. It is the relief, the certainty, the gratitude, the calm confidence. When you live from the end, you are no longer chasing. You are embodying. Consider this carefully. If your desire were fulfilled right now, what would change within you? Would you feel lighter, more secure, more decisive, more peaceful? That inner shift is the true destination, and you have access to it immediately. You do not need external permission to feel the state of completion. Most people reverse the order. They say, when it happens, then I will feel it. But the law operates in the opposite direction. When you feel it, then it happens. Living from the end requires imagination. It requires that you close your eyes and experience, even briefly. The scene that implies your wish has already been realized. See yourself after the success. Hear the congratulations. Feel the handshake. Sense the environment. Make it vivid enough that your body responds. When your body responds emotionally, you are no longer pretending. You are impressing the state upon yourself. The key is naturalness. Do not strain. Do not force emotion. Instead, gently return to the feeling of completion throughout your day. Walk as the one who has already received. Speak as the one who is already secure. Make decisions as the one who is already established. If someone who had already achieved your goal faced a small obstacle, how would they react? Calmly. If someone already confident entered a room, how would they move? Steadily. If someone already loved spoke to others, how would they sound? Warm and certain. Begin now. You may ask, what if circumstances contradict my assumption? That is where persistence becomes powerful. The outer world reflects past states. It may take time for the new state to dominate. Do not be discouraged by temporary appearances. They are echoes of former beliefs. Continue occupying the end. Eventually, the reflection must change. Living from the end also transforms your energy. When you are no longer desperate for something, you release tension. When you are no longer doubting its arrival, you stop interfering. You become aligned rather than anxious. And alignment allows events to unfold naturally. Think of it like tuning a frequency. When you match the frequency of the fulfilled desire, you connect with it. You do not chase a radio signal, you tune into it. Likewise, you tune into the reality you prefer by matching its emotional tone. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to live from the end. Not gratitude for what you hope will happen, but gratitude as though it has already happened. Quiet, confident gratitude. Thank you, it is done. That simple inner acknowledgement carries immense creative force. The version of you who already has it exists as a possibility now. You are not becoming someone new, you are selecting a state already available. Step into it repeatedly until it feels familiar. When it feels familiar, it feels real. And when it feels real, it manifests. Stop measuring progress by visible evidence. Measure it by inner stability. If you can remain in the feeling of completion, despite appearances, you are living from the end. And that state will externalize. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are conscious of being. So be it now. Be successful now. Be secure now. Be loved now. Be abundant now. Not in imagination alone, but in identity. Live from the end, and the path will reveal itself. Live from the end, and doors will open without strain. Live from the end, and reality will reorganize itself to match your chosen state. The future is not ahead of you. It is within you. Step into it, and let the world follow. The world does not respond to what you think. It responds to what you feel. Most people are trapped in a constant struggle of logic, analysis, and reasoning. They plan, they strategize. They worry, they debate endlessly in their minds. Yet, despite all of this, the outer world rarely conforms to their expectations. Why? Because thought alone is powerless without feeling. Thought is the blueprint, but feeling is the energy that builds. Thought without feeling is empty. Feeling is the secret, the invisible force that impresses reality and moves the unseen into the seen. Feeling is not merely emotion. Feeling is a deep inner conviction, an accepted state of being. It is the quality of consciousness that dominates your day. It is the tone of life that you carry inwardly, which the outer world faithfully mirrors. If you feel fear, hesitation, or lack, the day will echo these states. If you feel certainty, ease, and abundance, the day will yield opportunities, solutions, and favorable circumstances. This is not speculation. It is the operation of universal law. The outer world cannot resist the dominant feeling of your consciousness. The secret lies in knowing that feeling precedes manifestation. Most people wait for circumstances to change and then feel a certain way. They think, if this happens, then I will feel relief or joy or confidence. But the law is reversed. You must first feel it as done, as real, as already accomplished. Feeling is the creative agent. Feeling impresses the subconscious. Feeling orders the world around you. When you occupy the emotional state of your wish fulfilled, your inner reality becomes dominant, and the outer reality must comply. Consider how naturally this works in everyday life. When you meet someone radiating confidence, how do you respond? Their certainty shapes your perception of them. You trust them, you defer to them, you feel influenced. You are responding to feeling, not to the facts. The same principle applies to all manifestations. Your inner state communicates with the world. The universe does not need instructions. It only mirrors the vibration you maintain. This is why imagination and visualization alone often fail. If you imagine a desirable outcome without the accompanying feeling, it is just a mental exercise. It leaves no imprint on your subconscious. The moment you combine imagination with authentic feeling, the feeling of already having, already being, already accomplished, you activate creation. The feeling energizes the imagined scene. It gives life to the invisible, and the invisible moves the visible. Every interaction, every event, every opportunity is filtered through the lens of your dominant feeling. If you harbor doubt, insecurity, or impatience, the world reflects that state. If you cultivate assurance, satisfaction, and calm expectancy, the world responds accordingly. Feeling is the magnet, and your state of being determines what is drawn toward you. This is why cultivating the right inner tone is not optional, it is essential. The most effective way to use feeling as a creative tool is through assumption. Decide what you wish to experience. Then feel it internally as real. Experience the relief, the satisfaction, the gratitude, and the certainty that comes when the desire is fulfilled. The more real you can make it in your body, mind, and heart, the more effectively the unseen is impressed. Persist in this state until it becomes natural. As long as the feeling dominates your inner reality, it shapes the outer reality inevitably. Obstacles and contrary appearances are no threat to feeling. Temporary appearances only test the strength of your inner state. If the external world seems to contradict your assumption, do not react emotionally or doubt the unseen. Return immediately to the feeling. Let it dominate. As long as the feeling is sustained, the manifestation must follow. Reality has no choice. It obeys the dominant vibration of consciousness. Feeling also creates consistency. When you maintain a steady inner state, you become stable amidst external turbulence. Opportunities flow more smoothly. Decisions become clearer. Relationships improve naturally. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable appear manageable because your consciousness is aligned with the end, not with fear or resistance. The power of life lies in steady feeling, not in frantic effort or surface action. To apply this secret, begin each day by tuning your inner state. Before engaging with the world, decide how you will feel. Decide that everything is working in your favor. Decide that you are calm, capable, and abundant. Step into the day carrying that feeling, and the day will mirror it back to you. Your outer life is always the echo of your inner reality. Remember, feeling is not optional. Thought alone cannot move the universe. Feeling is the secret agent, the invisible creative force. When you cultivate the feeling of your desire fulfilled, the world must conform. The outer cannot resist the inner. Master this, and you master creation itself. Your life becomes a reflection of your chosen state. Feeling is the secret, and it is available to you at every moment. Everything you experience externally is the reflection of an inner dialogue. Long before a situation appears in your life, a conversation has taken place within you. Most people are unaware of this inner chatter. It is subtle, automatic, and often unexamined. It comments, judges, doubts, and speculates. Yet it is infinitely more powerful than any external event. Your inner conversation does not just describe your life, it creates it. Every circumstance, every encounter, every opportunity or challenge first exists in thought and feeling before it manifests outside. The inner conversation is not idle. It is a constant dialogue between your conscious mind, your imagination, and your subconscious acceptance. The ideas you entertain, the words you repeat silently, and the emotions you allow yourself to dwell upon set the tone for your outer reality. If you speak within yourself of lack, limitation, or difficulty, the world mirrors that language back to you. If you speak of abundance, possibility, and achievement, the world arranges itself to confirm it. This is law, unchanging and exact. People often attempt to change circumstances by manipulating the outside world. They negotiate, strategize, and control situations. Yet these efforts are only partially effective because they do not address the source. The source is the conversation within. Change the inner dialogue, and the outer circumstances begin to shift naturally. The world obeys your dominant inner state, not your external effort. This is why self-mastery is far more powerful than external control. The inner conversation is continuous, and it often operates below the level of awareness. The moment you wake up, before any external influence, your thoughts begin to speak to themselves. If you allow worry, doubt, or complaint to dominate, you activate a chain of reflection in the outer world. Yet, if you consciously direct your inner conversation toward confidence, expectation, and the reality you desire, you set the blueprint for the day. Your imagination becomes a command, and your feeling gives it momentum. One of the most important principles to understand is that repetition and acceptance matter more than logic. The subconscious does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It accepts as true what is consistently impressed upon it with feeling. Therefore, the words and sentences you repeat internally, combined with the emotional tone you invest, directly shape your external experience. This is why inner discipline is essential. Guard your mental dialogue as carefully as you guard any conversation you might have with another person. Its consequences are far greater. To control circumstances, begin by monitoring your inner conversation. Notice the statements you make silently. I will never succeed. This is too hard. I am not enough. Each statement is a seed planted in your consciousness. If neglected, it grows and produces its external equivalent. Conversely, choose phrases that reflect the state you wish to embody. Everything is working in my favor. I am capable and supported. I move with confidence and clarity. Plant these seeds consistently, and the external world will flourish accordingly. Persistence is key. The outer world often presents temporary contradictions, and this is where the inner conversation is tested. When appearances oppose your assumption, resist reacting according to the old conversation. Return deliberately to the chosen inner dialogue. Maintain calm certainty. Trust that what is impressed deeply will manifest. Your internal consistency overpowers temporary external evidence. Outer reality cannot resist a firmly established inner state. The inner conversation also directs relationships. How people respond to you is largely a reflection of how you communicate within yourself. If you enter an interaction assuming fear, judgment, or scarcity, your words, tone, and body language carry that vibration. If you enter assuming confidence, generosity, and expectation of goodwill, the interaction flows in alignment. People unconsciously mirror your inner state. This principle applies universally in business, friendships, and love. Ultimately, mastery of life begins within. The outer circumstances are simply obedient reflections of your dominant inner conversation. Success, peace, and fulfillment are not waiting for external approval or validation. They respond immediately to the quality of your internal dialogue. To live consciously is to select the conversation that serves your desired reality, to repeat it with feeling, and to sustain it against all temporary appearances. Remember, the world does not dictate the outcome, your inner conversation does. Every opportunity, every obstacle, every experience is a reflection of what you accept as true inside. To transform your life, transform your conversation. Speak to yourself with certainty. Affirm your desired state consistently. Feel it as real. Watch how the outer world bends obediently to the conversation you maintain within. Your thoughts and feelings are not powerless. They are the architects of your reality. Speak wisely, feel convincingly, accept fully. And the world outside will always reflect the world inside. Inner conversation controls outer circumstances, and when you master it, you master life itself. Now take a slow, steady breath. Feel the certainty settling into you. The declaration has been made. The state has been chosen. The decision is done. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into a day that has already received its command. Everything you assumed this morning is already moving into form. Conversations are aligning. Opportunities are arranging themselves. Outcomes are shifting in your favor. You do not need to force anything. You simply remain faithful to what you declared. Walk calmly. Speak confidently. Think deliberately. And if at any moment something appears contrary, return instantly to your decision. It is still working in my favor, because the power was never outside of you, and it never will be. Today obeys the state you chose, and you chose victory. If this declaration resonated with you, take a moment right now and affirm it in the comments. It is already done. When you write it, you reinforce it. If this message strengthened your state, make this your morning ritual. Return to it, repeat it, live from it. And if you're ready to continue mastering your inner world, subscribe and stay connected, because your imagination, your assumption, and your awareness are the greatest creative powers you possess. Thank you for choosing to begin your day consciously. Now go live it, as the one who already decided how it ends.